Hello, I'm FX Toycat, and welcome back to an incredibly exciting Minecraft update news video, because today a brand new Bedrock beta just came out. It's called 1.17.40.21. You don't need to know the update title though, you just need to know that they finally did something we all kind of assumed was impossible in the current architecture, and they made new caves exist in existing worlds. And when I say that, I don't mean, oh yeah, you could find a part of your existing world where, new chunks generate and you find new caves that way. No, I mean, allow me to show you a 2020 world, a world that I generated before Caves and Cliffs had a single beta. As you can see, it's filled with bedrock at the very base of the world. This is how Minecraft works. If you have any existing world, there is bedrock that you cannot mine, as best I can tell. And now allow me to show you what happens if we take this same world into 1.18 using the Caves and Cliffs toggle. It makes a copy of our world, which for some reason was called Quince, and now we load up that exact same world, and all of that bedrock that was there before looks slightly different. Oh, it's funny, they changed the texture for bedrock, except they also made bedrock mineable, and when you mine it, it drops an existing block called cobbled deep slate. And wait a minute, I'm starting to think that actually this isn't bedrock anymore, but actually it's something brand new instead. And yes, you would be correct if you assumed this, because all bedrock in your existing worlds will turn into deep slate, and instead a new layer of bedrock will generate below that. This was the best case scenario we hypothesized when they said they were lowering the world height, and it seemed to be technically impossible because they'd be altering existing worlds and stuff like that, but it seems as though they finally decided it is possible, and they've managed to make it work on existing worlds. Every existing world, to the best of my knowledge, when loaded up in Minecraft 1.18 and beyond, will give you deep slate and new caves below your existing world. You can now find new Caves and Cliffs world anywhere in the current. Again, this is something that is unprecedented. To be able to take a world that you generated in 2012, let's say, and find brand new things below it, that is truly incredible. This means that I can finally make my sugarcane farm go all the way down to Y-64, and it can in fact be the world's most insane sugarcane farm. Yes, I'm very excited for that, but it also means that every existing player can now explore the new things, including the deep dark, including the new cave biomes, without ever having to explore new chunks and find new areas in their world. That is incredible. Look at this. All of this formerly bedrock is now cobbled deep slate, and I think that it's deep slate blocks itself, and I just think that was such a clever approach, and I love that they've finally done it. We need to give some credit to the bedrock developers, but before we talk about giving credits, people, let's talk about the other changes in this update, because they're also just as interesting in my opinion, because they also seemed weirdly broken for a long time. So Minecraft has three world types. There is the infinite worlds that 99.9% of players use, there are the old worlds, which is 256 by 256, and then there are the flat worlds, which I want to remind you are very much not super flats. They're significantly less super, and they haven't been touched in a very long time, but that changes with 1.18 because super flat worlds have been moved south by about 60 blocks. They now generate starting at Y-64, which as you can see means that when we mine down, the very bottom of the world is at -64, and now the message, instead of saying the maximum build height is 0 blocks, says the maximum building height is -64. That's a good improvement to make, and it means that if you do have a flat world, instead of having, what would it be, like 256 blocks to build on top of, or 320 as it was in previous betas, now you can build all the way up to layer 0 if you want to, which is kind of fun and cool by itself, but then you can go even higher than that if you really like, and you can go all the way up to 320 from there. You can have builds that are 376 minus the grass, so 372 blocks tall in Minecraft now, and that is truly an incredible thing. I mean, the render distance on most platforms won't support that in any meaningful way, but if you are playing on a Windows 10 device, you're probably going to appreciate that one, maybe. By the way, right now, I'm still barely over the halfway mark to get there, and look how tall this tower is. Yeah, Minecraft has an insane height limit now. It should go without saying, but you know what? Let's say it anyway, because it's incredibly important. Also in this update, they've made it so that copper will generate all the way up to Y-96. Also in this update, they made it possible to firework Elytra while facing the sky. Previously, something every Bedrock player knows is you have to kind of like place it, you have to like fly downwards and then angle it upwards. No, in the new update, you can fly and you can up at the exact same time. This is really handy if you're trapped in a hole or anything else like that. It's one of those cool parity improvements, and the fact that it came alongside these other changes is truly incredible. Because, by the way, Bedrock has always been at the forefront of world generation, both when it comes to this update, but also in general, when it comes to blending different worlds for different reasons. Bedrock has some really good tech, and let me go back to the Quince world to prove that point to you. Because while everyone else is focused on the incredible accomplishment that is making new caves, new biomes spawn right below your existing Minecraft worlds, which again, I think is incredible. Also, they've made the Deep Slate caves like properly here. To stay, it looks like. I think they're beautiful. Let me know if you agree. Also, by the way, just a warning, those caves will not work fully and they have weird borders right now. It's a bug, it's a beta, expect that to be fixed. But the fact that they got it working at all, truly an incredible thing. It's also, I love when the game breaks in ways like this that you can actually visibly see, because having chunk boundaries in Minecraft is how the game generates, but you won't know it because, let's say, okay, by the way, look at this. The entire bedrock layer below the world has been replaced with Deep Slate. This is probably the thing that proves it. Also, on Bedrock, it tiles in a weird way. Maybe you didn't know that also. But allow me to show you something else that I think is hugely interesting, because this is an old chunk in my world. This is a world that generated in 2020, and so as you can see, it looks like current generation. But notice that if you go any direction in a way you haven't explored, Minecraft Bedrock is at the forefront of blending in the new generation with your old worlds. When you explore new chunks, you want 1.18 generation. That's why you're playing 1.18, and so the moment they can give a new block that won't overwrite your existing world, they start to do so. And as you can see, instead of following chunk boundaries and making ugly, squared off caves, you instead get mountains that look like this. In this case, Mesa Mountains. I think Mesa Mountains are way too common in these betas. I wonder if that's intentional or a bug. Do they just assume everyone loves Mesa Mountains this much? I'm not too sure. But as you can see, I mean, like, if you looked at Seed Sunday, it was crazy in the same way. But yeah, looking at this, you can see that, like, yeah, actually, they do a really good job of not only making it look like kind of a natural mountain range, as natural as a Mesa Mountain in the middle of a swamp can look, but also, as you can see, they make the mountain gradually go up. Again, not perfectly, they only have a few blocks to work with, but they actually slowly move the terrain upwards so that the savanna blurs into, again, this is a savanna down here, it blurs into the mesa biome. The swamp biome over here, or apparently the desert, blurs into the mesa biome. The swamp biome actually blurs a little bit. It's not perfect by any means, but the fact that they have this at all, while Java, again, for a long time did just have ugly chunk boundaries, is something we don't give enough credit for. It seems as though Bedrock is always behind Java, because they do betas every 2 weeks roughly, as opposed to, the snapshot thing where it's every week, multiple times a week. Because of the base program being, smaller and on fewer platforms and less able to update with longer lead times, it does seem as though the Bedrock team is behind sometimes, but they are making some incredible accomplishments, and they're making it on some, again, very interesting, varied hardware. And so to see worlds that can have stuff like this, brand new mountains generating right next, again, this is a world that I clearly explored for Seed Sunday or something. The fact that right next to my existing world, there is new terrain already, and as well as being right next to my existing world, it's also directly below it. I think this is the best you can hope for in terms of finding new terrain in existing worlds without hoping that your existing builds or existing biomes get destroyed. It's just incredible, in my opinion, that you can find this. I think it's also incredible that you can find the weird bugs, but most people probably don't like that. It's incredible that this exists in the slightest, and it's incredible that they can, make this all work on the devices that it does. I want this to be a quick appreciation for Bedrock video before diving into, and by the way, improving some other things here, before diving into what I think is the big point to make here. And that is that your existing world is changing in perhaps the most major way we've ever seen. This is now not going to just be a big update. I think it's a monumental update. They have, for the first time, changed every chunk in your existing world. Not only to add height to the top, so now you can build up to 320 blocks, but also to add things below your world. And I think there's like going to be 0.1% of people that are upset because they liked their bedrock being at the bottom of the world. Sure, don't get me wrong, that is definitely a key point. But also, I think for the 99.9% of players, your world is expanding in an unprecedented way, and it always has been, but that's been mostly about new chunks, not about your existing stuff. Now your existing stuff is expanding, your build options with your existing worlds are expanding in ways that are hard to really wrap your head around, and I think that is just hugely interesting. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. Before we go, I just want to share, because I've been complimentary this whole video, but as I always like to do, if I'm being too mean, I like to leave a compliment. If I'm being too nice, I have to leave a little bit of an insult. So, before we go, I do love the new caves and cliffs generating right into your Minecraft world. However, the engine that makes the old terrain blur into the new isn't quite perfect, and to show that, what better than like this ravine that is blurring into a mesa biome? So a lot of these black mesa drops just generate all the way down here. They mix them with the deep slate, which is really weird, and then there's this, which is right now on top of deep slate. It's all very confusing, yeah, you're gonna end up existing worlds are going to end up with some slight scars from this, because, again, no engine is perfect. You know how I have bedrock in my nether right now? You're going to have something the equivalent of like, oh yeah, you've got some floating granite over here, or you've got, oh, look at this. There is a cave directly on the other side of this. This is incredible. Stuff like this, you might, again, I feel like it's not intentional, and it's not pretty to some people, but to me, this is amazing. I'm like floored by what I'm seeing. You're gonna have some incredibly weird mixes of the old world and your new, both now horizontally like we've already expected, but also vertically. And yeah, this is the biggest Minecraft update in quite a few definitions now. I don't want to say ever, because again, it's just part 2 of a wider update, but this is something that, in my opinion, is officially now worth waiting for, and I like that they've pulled that off out of the bag with no warning. Good job, Minecraft developers. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you're as enthused about the new update as I am. If you are, then make sure to subscribe so you see more of these videos daily on your homepage, because of course, when it comes out, I'll be showing off some of the weirdest ways that the world terrain breaks. Also, of course, I show off seeds for the update and all the other things you need to know if you care about Minecraft. And if you don't care about Minecraft, then you found the wrong channel. But I hope you all enjoy the video anyway, because I'll see you all next time. Have a good day. Goodbye.